Hi, my name is Emily Lightstone, and I am an Aliyah Coordinator at the Jerusalem Municipality in the Aliyah and Absorption Authority. I'm here today at Nefesh B'Nefesh starting a webinar series on Jerusalem. I made Aliyah 15 years ago by myself and now live in Jerusalem with my husband and 3 children, and I love it. And I'm here today to talk about resources for gifted and talented children in Jerusalem. I feel this topic is largely overlooked. There's not a lot of information and awareness among the English-speaking community in Jerusalem. And there are many, many wonderful opportunities for gifted and talented children, and I'd like to share some of them with you today. So I'm going to talk about a few different things. The first is programs during elementary school. The next is middle schools and high schools for gifted and talented students. After that, I'll talk about programs during middle school and high school, and then also general resources. Jerusalem has a high number of gifted and talented students in the city, and there are a lot of really, really great resources and programs out there. Jerusalem, in my opinion, is a wonderful place to raise children, and especially gifted and talented children. And I'll talk about some of the options. I will be talking about some of the unique programs to Jerusalem. I will not be discussing talented and gifted programs that are available all over the country, such as the Bar Ilan Advanced Mathematics Program for 6th graders and up. I will not be discussing the Open University because that is available online everywhere in Israel, although I will say that the Open U does have a campus in Jerusalem. The model behind excellence programs in Jerusalem is like a funnel. In the beginning, in elementary school, the idea is to expose children to all kinds of different topics and fields, and as they get older, they can choose what they're drawn towards more. And they can focus on specific subjects. So first, I'm going to talk about the OFEC Gifted and Talented School in Jerusalem. So in order to get into the OFEC programs, which I will discuss in detail, there is a national test given in 2nd grade. Only with these test scores can children get into OFEC. Evaluations from psychologists, either in Israel or abroad, are not accepted. It is solely based on these test scores. So there are 2 stages to this test. There's stage A and stage B. Stage A is given in the schools. Everybody can take it. Some children do opt out. And then the top 15 or 20% of those student scores, the students will move on to stage B. Now this year, because of the war, the Ministry of Education decided to eliminate stage A, and teachers can recommend students to go on to stage B. If your child was selected to go on to stage B, you should have gotten a letter from the school in the second half of December. And if not, there are other ways that you can apply, and we'll discuss that in a moment. So this year and all the years, anybody can actually apply to go to stage B, or Shlem Bet as it's called in Hebrew. If your child passed stage A, then they are probably a good candidate to go to stage B. But stage A doesn't have any accommodations. I'll be talking about those. Or maybe your kid was sick, or maybe, they didn't really understand what was happening. And so if you think that your child is very bright and you would like them to have a chance to get into the OFEC Gifted and Talented programs, then you can actually request for your child to go to stage B. After the children take the tests, the top 3% are selected for the Mechunanim program. Mechunanim means gifted. And the next 5% are accepted to the Mitzvaynim program. The Mechunanim program is Yom Shlifa, which basically means that 1 day a week, instead of the children going to the regular school, they are taken out and they go to a gifted center, and that is where they spend their morning. For the Mitzvaynim program, the program takes place after school. If a child gets into Mukhunanim and doesn't want to miss a day of school, perhaps they're worried about the social implications, or they really, really enjoy their school, or it's just not a good fit for the child or the family, the child can always do the afternoon program. The reverse is not true. If somebody gets into Mitzvaynim, they cannot go to the morning program in Ofek. If your child does not make the cut, then they can always retest and do another test between 3rd and 5th grade. Registration to request to either retest or to test the first time if your child did not pass stage A, or in this case was not recommended to go to stage B. So registration for that is open in January. Now, we know that Israel is the land of second chances. We also know that a lot of times deadlines here are very wishy-washy. This is not the case when applying for taking the stage B test or applying for accommodations. January 31st this year and most years is the deadline. They will not accept any requests after January 1st. So if you send at February 1st at 1 o'clock in the morning, they will not accept your requests. That's just how it is. So the tests are really, really, really difficult. They check the child's verbal and quantitative abilities, as well as spatial reasoning. A lot of kids who take the stage A test cry in the middle. It could be very stressful. So I copied the letter that was sent out this year in English. They normally do not send things in English, which is, again, why I'm doing this webinar. But I copied what the Ministry of Education suggested, the type of children who should take this test. So as you see, high academic achievement, ability to learn skills on one's own, increased thirst for knowledge in various areas of interest, verbal ability, high and broad attention, curiosity, high emotional complexity, highly developed imagination, sensitivity to environment, alertness and activity, creativity and mental adaptation. These are all traits of gifted students. If you feel that your child is not gifted, then there's really no reason to take the test and put them through a very arduous process that might end up having them not pass. So as I said, the Mechunanim program is 1 day a week at Ofek. The children do not go to school, and the Mitzvaynim program is in the afternoon. Jerusalem actually has something that many centers around the country do not, which is a Torani program. The Torani program is only in the afternoon, and it caters to a more religious population. Boys and girls are not in mixed classes, unlike in the morning. In the morning and in the afternoon regular programs, children from all over mix together. So children who go to Dati schools, children who go to secular schools, people, from all kinds of backgrounds. There could even be people who are not Jewish. So if you feel that you do not want your child to be in that kind of environment, there is the Torani option. There is no Torani morning option. So many children who would like that kind of environment, who get into the Mechunanim program, opt to go to the Torani afternoon program. The way it works is the morning program has 3 courses. The afternoon programs have 2 courses. The courses are very, very similar. There are some adaptations for the afternoon courses as they realize that the children are after a full day of school. The morning program is in the Ofek building, which is located in Ramot. And as I said, children from all over Jerusalem travel there in the morning. The afternoon programs, since they're after the school day, are spread out throughout the city and are done according to zone. So if your child is in the afternoon program, they can go to a school that's somewhat local to you. And I just want to stress that Ofek is totally optional. Your child can take the test and decide Ofek is not for them. Your child can go 1 year and decide not to go the next. Your child can even skip 2 years and decide to go again. It's really up to you and what's best for the child. So now that I've actually talked about getting into OFEC, what is OFEC? So the word OFEC means horizon, and OFEC is an enrichment program. The program does not do the regular curriculum that the kids learn in school. They do all kinds of fun courses to expose them to a variety of topics. Some of these courses may include Japanese, math games, Dungeons and Dragons, origami, ecology, and many, many more. It really varies according to the year. You do not get to choose the courses. Your child is put into a class and the courses are assigned to them. If the child is in the morning class, of course, as I said, they miss a day of school, and they will also be responsible for making up the work. There's also an emphasis on the social and emotional well-being of the OFEC students. Many gifted students have challenges. They may be very advanced in one area and not so advanced in another. It's called asynchronous development. So the OFEC staff realizes that the gifted population has some of these unique challenges, and they really make sure that the children are doing well, both in OFEC and also in their main school. OFEC also provides workshops for the parents on raising gifted children. As I said, there are a lot of challenges involved, emotional and social support. Sometimes the children in their main school will have trouble socially, and in OFEC, they will meet like-minded peers and for the first time really connect to kids. So OFEC offers a lot of guidance to parents, whether it's through workshops, whether it's meeting with the school psychologist and guidance counselor. They also offer support for the child in their main school. They can talk to the teachers in the main school, the principal. They can offer guidance. And if there's a problem with your child in their regular school, you can certainly go to OFEC and they can help mediate. And I'll just say the last thing about OFEC. For many of these kids, this is really a breath of fresh air. Some of the kids are bored in school. Again, maybe some of them haven't really found friends. This 1 day a week opportunity is really, good for their soul. So part of the reason, as I said, why I'm doing the webinar and explaining all this is that there are specific challenges for Olim children and also children of Olim, meaning the parents themselves didn't grow up here and don't know about OFEC and don't know about these programs and how the system works. There's a general lack of information in English, and I think, honestly, even in Hebrew, a lot of my Israeli friends don't know how OFEC works. They don't know the system. Also, a lot of the children don't have as good Hebrew as their peers. Maybe you speak English at home. Maybe they didn't make Aliyah till they were a little bit older. But in general, the level of Hebrew is not on the same, is not on par with their Israeli monolingual friends. There are also some cultural differences surrounding the test and surrounding information. And I just want to say this is really, really important. You can request accommodations for the national test. Stage A doesn't have any accommodations, but for Stage B, you can request language accommodations. That means either taking the test in English, or you can take an easier version of the Hebrew test. Easier meaning in terms of the language, because again, the language on the test is very, very, very high. Even for monolingual Israeli kids, it can be very difficult. So all the more so children whose first language may not be Hebrew and they may not have the same exposure to Hebrew as their monolingual peers. So to that end, I'm going to now briefly go through the process of how you can apply both to take the test if your child was not recommended this year or any year, or to retake the test, and how to apply for accommodations. So the first thing you do is to Google Portal Horim. It says on the screen, Portal Horim, so you don't need to guess how to spell it, and you get to this page. This is the parents' portal in the Ministry of Education. Now at the top, if you want to read more about the gifted and talented programs like OFEC and how the tests work, you can click on Mechunanim Umitztainim. If you want to make any requests, either to request to take a test or to request accommodations, you need to click Pniot Umatan Shirut. This is requests and services. And then you also need to go to your Ezor Ishi, your personal area on the website. So once you log into your personal area, you could see I logged into mine, you'll get this page. And you just click Ptichat Pnia on the bottom, and then you get a screen like this. So the first thing you do is you choose your child. You may have more than one child in the system, so you choose the one that you want to do the test. Next, you need to choose what the topic is, and the topic in this case is Mechunanim Umitztainim. Then you need to go to the next category, which is what you want to request. So if your child is in second grade and you want to request something related to testing for the first time, you choose what's highlighted, Itur Talmidei Bet Gimel Shnaton Shenivchan Rishona. It's the grade that's getting tested for the first time. If you want your child to take the test again, or if your child just made Aliyah and is in grades 3 through 5 and were not here when their grade was tested for the first time, you can choose the next item, which is Itur Talmidei Gimel Ad Hey Shnaton Shenivchan Ba'avar. The next thing you need to do is to choose what you are asking for. If you choose, so you can either choose language accommodations, Bakasha Lemivchan Basafa Hamut'emet, and in that case, you can choose either Anglit, English, or Ivrit La'olim. Now, I'll just make something clear. In terms of language accommodations, you can get language accommodations both if you are Olim Hadashim, and also if you are raising your child in a bilingual household, meaning your children could have been born here, but you speak English in the house, and therefore they have less exposure to Hebrew, and they are eligible to test in easier Hebrew or English, your choice. When it says Tochen HaPniya, you write your reason there. You write that either you are Olim Chadashim, you made Aliyah X year, or your children were born here, but you yourself are an Ole or an Ola, or you speak English at home. If your child has any medical issues or learning disabilities and you want accommodations, in that menu you can choose Bakasha Lemivchan B'Tna'im Mut'amin. So depending on what your child's challenges are, on a different page in the Mechunanim Umitztainim, I highlighted there's a chart, Tavla Hatamot Efshariyot. So in this chart, you can see what accommodations are available to your child depending on their challenges. These could be anything from ADHD to autism, to reading challenges, to being visually impaired, and so much more. You need to look on the chart and see what your child is eligible for. So the next thing you need to choose is how you're getting to this test. So this is if you're testing for the first time and want accommodations, for example. So the first one is Shlav Aleph, or the test in general, is not given in your child's school. So Beit HaSefer lo Beveit HaSefer lo Kayam Mivchan Shlav Aleph. The next option is your child was recommended by the school. Hatalmid o Talmidah humlatza al yedei Beit HaSefer. And the third option is your child was not recommended by the school. Hatalmid Hatalmidah lo humlat humlatza al yadei beit hasefer. Now, in order to request accommodations for medical issues or learning disabilities, there are a few documents that you need. The first is you need to write a letter. Now, there's actually no space for you to upload the letter. You can upload it. It doesn't ask for it. You can write the letter and put it where we saw before was tochen hapniya. I, in the past, have put copy-pasted the letter there as well as attached it. The next thing you need to attach are evaluations done by professionals. This could be evaluations done by a psychologist, a medical doctor such as a neurologist or a psychiatrist or a developmental pediatrician. It could be something done by an occupational therapist. It could be a psychodidactic evaluation. Any kind of evaluation needs to be presented. There needs to be official documentation by a professional. The next form that you need to submit is something that needs to be filled out either by your child's teacher or the guidance counselor in the school. This form can be downloaded and found in the highlighted hyperlink on the screen. Okay, the last thing that you need to submit is a waiver of confidentiality. And again, you print this out and scan it. So now that I've discussed OFEC, which is the big gifted and talented program in Jerusalem, I'm going to discuss some of the other programs. The other programs are really school-based, mostly, and that means that they're done in the child's school. So the first one is Amirim. Amirim is an in-house excellence program run by the school. There are many, many, many schools in Jerusalem that have this program. Because it is an in-house program, the quality and the content differ by school. The program is run by the staff of the school. The staff gets special training in different areas, and it's really up to the school's discretion on what the content will be. In my child's school, the Amirim program has 3 different courses. One course is a STEM-related course, either robotics or makerspace. There is an option for humanities courses. Those differ by year. And then there is a compulsory third course, which is more geared towards the social and emotional well-being. The children who were identified by the national test for OFEC are automatically accepted into the Amirim program. But the school, at their discretion, can also choose other very bright, motivated children to join the program. Another program in Jerusalem is Kitat Oman. And this is a unique program to Jerusalem. There is no other place in the country that has this program. This is an excellence program in the field of art that is in collaboration with the Israel Museum. There is a very rigorous selection process. Children who are interested in art need to undergo a test where they show their abilities. The program is run by the art teacher in the school who has undergone special training at the Israel Museum. There are weekly meetings in the school, as well as 3 meetings in the Israel Museum where they tour galleries and do workshops and do a lot of really fun things. So if your child has high abilities in art, then this could be a great program for them. In addition, there are also specialized groups in different subjects in the schools. So depending on the school, there might be different groups. One could be a math team, and there is a citywide math competition for children who have who are very advanced in mathematics. There could be something for law for children who like to debate and talk a lot. There could be a creative writing class. The children in these programs are chosen by their teachers according to what the teachers see and what they think those abilities are. Another program is also robotics. Again, there are so many different ones, and it really depends on the school. Another program unique to Jerusalem in elementary school is Hebrew University's Pirkei Halal program in their space science school. So I am taking the liberty of translating Pirkei Halal as space cadets, but not in the don't know what's going on sense. It's a program that children can apply to at the end of 4th grade, and there is a selection process. The program goes from 5th grade to 7th grade, and they learn a lot of different sciences related to space at the Hebrew University. Now I want to talk about programs during middle school and high school. So the first one is Ofek and Amirim, which we discussed before. Children who took the test in 2nd grade or later and were accepted to Ofek, that status stays. Oh, and one thing I didn't mention before that's important. If your child, the first time when they took the test, got into the Mitzvayim program and they want to try again for the Mechunanim program, even if they don't pass the test, no matter what, the Mitzvayim status is preserved. So if you take the test again, you will at least be Mitzvayim. So Ofek for the afternoon program continues until 7th grade. For the Torani program, I think only until 6th. And for the morning program from Mechunanim, it continues until 9th grade. There are also more programs at the Hebrew University. So as I mentioned, the Space Cadet program, Pirkei Halal, goes up to 7th grade. There's a second stage of that program for 8th and 9th, where they take more advanced classes. And then the third stage is a 2-year program in 10th and 11th grade called Settlement on Mars. And they learn a lot of advanced technology and applied physics. And they can do a lot of very interesting courses. Another program at the Hebrew University is the Da Vinci program. This is a 2-year program in 8th and 9th grade. The first year focuses on art, biology, and physics, which were things that occupied Da Vinci a lot. In 9th grade, the children can learn a bigger variety of courses in other disciplines that Da Vinci touched, and can also take 2 courses that they're very interested in. The program in 9th grade includes going to museums and other spaces on and off campus, and going on trips. The next program that I'd like to discuss is in middle school. It's in the Archimedes Center at Azrieli College, and the program is called Unicorn. Children can test into this program. There are 2 testing periods. One is at the end of the year in June, and one is in September. It's the same test. There's no advantage of doing the test at the end of the year or the beginning of the year. The children can do this program for 1, 2, or 3 years, or they can choose whatever they want, or maybe they only heard about it afterwards. This program allows them to be exposed to different areas of engineering and applied math. The program is very hands-on. There's no homework. There's no tests. It's really just about exposing children to different fields of engineering and related subjects. The idea is that soon after that, they will have to choose megamot, or specialties, for their bagriyot, and they can learn about different subjects so they can make a more educated decision. The Hebrew University has a Future Scientists Center, and it has a few different programs. So the first is Excellence in Science. This is a program that is only for 7th grade girls, and it's basically to keep them interested in science. The girls test at the beginning of the year to get into the program. The program spans from the middle of 7th to the middle of 8th. There are 4-hour sessions a few times a year, and there is also a camp. The Hebrew University's Future Scientist Center has 3 flagship programs: Alpha, Idea, and Odyssey. Alpha and Odyssey, 9th graders apply to, and it is a program that takes place over 2 years. There is a very rigorous selection process. It involves, for Alpha, 2 tests, and then a summer camp where there will be courses in physics and math and computer science. And if only after the summer camp, if the student passes all those courses, then they will be accepted to the program. IDEA is a very similar concept. There's 1 test and then an essay that has to be written for when applying, except IDEA is focused on the humanities and the social sciences. In Alpha and IDEA, they're, instead of doing certain bagriyot, the children work in labs and with the researchers doing research. And for Alpha, they do experiments. For IDEA, they write a research paper, and they can get credit for their bagriyot instead of taking certain tests. Odyssey is a 4-year program. You need to apply at the end of 8th grade. In the beginning, there is a lot of focus on math and physics. It's a similar process to Alpha. There's different tests, and then there's a summer camp. You need to pass the courses in the summer camp. In Alpha and Idea also, there's a second summer camp that's part of the program that is, by the way, an overnight camp. In Odyssey, you can do research in the university and get credits for the bagrut. And then you actually start taking courses that give you university credit. In all of these 3 programs, in addition to the obviously very intense academic aspect, there is also a lot of focus on the social aspect. It's like-minded peers, it's social, there are a lot of teamwork and bonding activities, and it's very, very nice for the kids. The next program is Mamriot or Makshimim. It's basically the same program. Mamriot is only for girls. Makshimim is mixed. It is a program that is from 10th to 12th grade, and it focuses on cybersecurity. For Alpha, Odyssey, Makshimim, and Mamriot, the Army really, really likes the kids who do these programs, and it's not a guarantee, but often they can get very specialized roles in the Army that relate to some of the work that they did. The last thing I'd like to mention relating to programs for gifted kids in high school are the external megamot. The megamot are specialty bagriyot that your children will choose when they're in high school. Jerusalem has a unique program in that the children don't only need to take the megamot specialties offered in their high school. There are external megamot that they can take in different subjects that interest them. Some of these subjects may include philosophy. For example, there is the Ruach Tzira program, where kids can take a bagrut in philosophy. There is a bagrut in business development, and the kids have to make their own business project. There is an amazing art course in the Israel Museum. There is music in the conservatory and the Yellow Submarine, Solelet Hatsuba, and many, many more options. So if your child has a lot of broad interests and they can't find something they'd like to study in their high school, then there are many, many more options. Other cities have seen this model and they've tried to copy it and have been unsuccessful. So far, this is something unique to Jerusalem. I'd also like to talk about different middle school and high school options that are available for gifted children. So the first one is YASA. YASA stands for Israeli Arts and Science Academy. I'll just also say, in order to go to any of these high schools, the children have to take a test like they took in second grade in order to be considered Mechunanim. If they want to continue at OFEC for the day or the afternoon program, they do not need to retake this test. But if they want to enter a classroom specifically for gifted children, like the programs that I'm about to talk about, then they need to retake the test. And the test can be taken from 6th grade to 9th grade. So YASA has a middle school and high school. There's also a dorming option for high school, and there are different tracks. There's science, plastic arts, music, and humanities. The population that goes to YASA is very diverse. It's kids from all over the country, but a lot of Jerusalemites. They could be Jewish and not Jewish, religious and secular, from all kinds of backgrounds. And a lot of gifted kids choose this option as the academic opportunities are vast and the classes are at a very, very high level. And again, they're with like-minded peers. Another option is the Etgar program at Liada, which stands for Liad HaUniversita, but everybody calls it Liada. Again, students are with like-minded peers, so it could be a good social fit. Liada has many, many enrichment courses in theater and dance and music and history and a lot of the subjects that you won't necessarily get in a regular high school. And again, Liada is a mamlachti school, it's a secular school, although because of this special program, it attracts a lot of different kinds of students. Liada also has, right now at least, the only Kitat Tikshoret class specifically for kids on the spectrum who are gifted. So that starts in 7th grade. It could be there'll be other high schools that have that option, or middle schools, but right now Liada is the only one. The last school I'd like to talk about is Torah Umada, Yeshiva Tichonit Torah Umada, which is connected to Machon Lev, and that's for boys, and for girls there's Olpanat Talia. In these programs, it's Torani, so boys and girls are separate. In the boys program, it's very intense academics. The focus is on math and computer science. They can get a bachelor's of science in computer science through Machon Lev, alongside their high school studies. They can continue to 13th grade to finish their degree, and then they are drafted to the army as in the Atuda program, and they work with something with computers. Olha Natalia is the girls' version of the Machon Lev program for boys. They too can do a degree during high school and till 13th grade. They have the option of doing a degree in computer science through Machon Lev, and they also have the option of doing a degree through the Open University as part of the Academia B'Tichon program. And they can do it in a variety of degrees, such as psychology, biology, chemistry, communications, and really anything. The last thing I'd like to talk about is just general resources for gifted kids in Jerusalem. There are many cultural sites and attractions. You have the Israel Museum, the Bible Lands Museum, the Botanical Gardens, the zoo, the Science Museum, the aquarium. There are so many options just for enrichment. And also in terms of chugim, or extracurricular activities, you have anything you can imagine. Jerusalem is a city with many, many resources. You have, for chugim, for example, chess and robotics and Dungeons and Dragons and martial arts and dance and music at the conservatory. Really anything is open to your children. A lot of the institutions that I mentioned earlier on actually have camps either during summer vacation or during Hanukkah break or Pesach break. So there are so many opportunities to enrich your children. So Jerusalem has a lot of options available for gifted children. And I really do believe that Jerusalem is the best of both worlds in that it is a bustling, diverse city with many services and options available, but at the same time provides that intimate small town feel. If you have any questions about any of the programs that I mentioned, please feel free to reach out either to me or to my colleague Gabi. We are Aliyah coordinators at the Jerusalem Municipality, and we'd love to hear from you. And if you have questions about anything else, please don't hesitate. And if you want to find out more about Jerusalem, you can scan this QR code. There are a lot of resources in English about various topics. I want to thank Nefesh B'Nefesh for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you today, and I can't wait for you to come to Jerusalem.